Today we have the 2023 Mercedes-Benz EQE 500 sedan. So this is the E-Class sedan, completely electric and totally luxurious. I already showed you the EQS, the bigger one, a little bit more luxurious and super powerful, but this one still packs a punch in every category. We're gonna take a full detailed look at the exterior, the interior, and get it out on the road for a test drive. Let's get started. All right, y'all, let's take a look at the exterior details here of this EQE. Now we're closing in right at $100,000 for this top end pinnacle trim with some additional options. I can't wait to show you. Now, like I said, if you want to see the EQS, the bigger, more luxurious model, be sure to look in the description below. But take a look at this grille right here. This thing, it's not even a grille, but it's just massive. And you're gonna have the AMG line trim level packaging here. So you'll see different accents along the car. We have LED headlights, LED daytime running lights, and these are the optional digital LED lights here too. Now this paint color is the selenite gray metallic. I think it looks nice. It's almost a little bit futuristic, just like this car is. And you've got some chrome accents on here. These are even the 20-inch AMG wheels. They look really interesting. It almost looks like a speaker, which is fitting because this car makes noise too, which you'll hear when we go to lock it and unlock it. This little door is nothing special. It's actually just for wiper fluid. Oddly enough, it's probably a good spot. And then you've got blinkers in the mirrors here too. Dimensionally, we're sitting at 197 inches long, so it's a fairly long car. It's a large car overall. It's got this bowed design. It's literally like a bow and arrow upside down here. Then we're gonna get LED taillights back here. Another thing that we can get for the rear wheels is 4.5 or 10-degree rear steering for the rear axle. We have the 10-degree rear steering, and you can really feel it when you're in the car. Look at these LED taillights. So they have this unique pattern, this unique line. You've got the amber colored turn signal and the LED light running all the way across the back. What do you think of the rear end? Now, cargo space is honestly a little bit better than I expected and better than the gas version of the E-Class. So you can open it like that. It's electronic to lift up. Typically this will have a foot activated hands-free standard, but this one doesn't, and I'm not sure why. You get a credit back on the price because of it. Maybe it's because of the whole chip thing. I'm not sure, but typically it will have that. Regardless, back here you're gonna get 15 cubic feet. The trunk arms are concealed, so you don't have to worry about those. It's pretty deep. It's not real wide, especially between here and that side because of the concealed trunk part, but you've got a little cargo net over here. Then you've got space under here where you can put a charging cable if you want. We have a tire inflator kit, but we do not have a spare tire. And as you can see, those seats can fold down in a 40-20-40 split fashion. The fold down here is right here, which is nice. You can do it without really hardly lifting a finger, and then you can electronically close it or close it and have it lock. Now, Mercedes is really creative and just unique with their, not their key fob, but with their entry and their exit system. So if I unlock it, the car makes this mysterious sound. It's kind of cool. If I lock it, it does the same thing. You get the cool beep, the cool like electronic futuristic sound. Now, as you approach the vehicle, the door handles will automatically pop out. So these are flush door handles unless you unlock it or approach the vehicle. And then they actually move like that, and that's what lets you in. So you can also push this to lock it. Mirrors will flash, makes a sound. Now climbing inside here, we have the optional Nappa leather seats, and look at this color. This is such a rich color here. One cool thing is these headrests can move forward and backwards to accommodate all different postures and body types. These seats are also pretty comfortable. You've got good bolstering right here. You've got good cushioning down here. I've been able to spend a good amount of time in Mercedes with seats like this. You have four-way lumbar support down here. And then over here, you've got all your other controls, like your height, your tilt, your back and forth, recline, all of that, along with heated seats, ventilated seats, and 3-position memory settings. With the memory settings, you get the entry exit where the steering wheel can automatically move, the seat will automatically move, and you have power adjustment for that steering wheel. And like I mentioned, it has heated seats. Those are standard. Ventilated seats, which are optional, it has those. You can also option up and get their multi-contouring seats with a massage function that I've showed you in other Mercedes models, and those are pretty darn nice. Now the back seat, you get nice materials up here as well, just like you do in the front. And this is even like a knurled pattern. This is nice. This is not some cheap stuff. You even have your heated seat button on there as well. And take a look at this back seat. I mean, you've got the different contrasts and colors. I think it looks really nice as well. Now sitting behind myself, I'm 5'9". This is where I'm comfortable with the seat. I've got pretty good space back here. I have the seat low, so I don't have a ton of footroom, but there's a good amount of knee space, and these backrests kind of pop out like that on both sides. Plus, we have 4-zone climate control in this top end Pinnacle trim. That means both sides back here get their own climate controls, fan speed controls, everything like that, with the air conditioning vents right there. There's still a center folding armrest. This is nice and soft. You can pop this out for that, or pop it out for the cup holders. This is like a phone slot, decent sized cup holders right here as well. So you're pretty set back here. Now these don't recline like executive style seats, or they're not massaging, but they're actually a little bit more reclined with more thigh support than what you see in pretty much any other sedan. So it's actually pretty comfortable here, and I can sit up tall without my head touching, at least with this roof open. Let me close it. Okay, the roof just closed with my hat on, and I still have headroom. So even despite this bowed design, I can still sit up tall back here. All right, y'all, let's take a look at the interior here, and this is gonna look very, very familiar from what you've seen from other Mercedes models. Now, first of all, over on the door, you can see you've got your memory settings, your seat controls like I showed you up there. Then we've got a nice material. I like this color material of this panel. Just like the seats, you've got all soft materials here, soft for your armrest, and then this is hard plastic, but it still actually looks pretty nice. And a big mug like this doesn't quite fit in there, but most bottles will. Light controls just to the left of the steering wheel, and your emergency or electronic parking brake. Steering wheel is leather wrapped right here. This is also heated. It's pretty comfortable to hold on to. You've got a little bit of a bulky grip up here, and these are the touch sensitive controls you've seen in other models. Not my favorite, but they are smoother than what you'll find in Volkswagen, for example. And then on the back of the steering wheel, you've got these little paddles. These are not paddle shifters. Those are for regeneration, and we'll talk about that in the test drive. Push button start is right back here. Make some cool sounds. You can have different sounds come out of this vehicle. It's really unique and mysterious, honestly. You've got this large digital display. Looks just like what you'll see on other Mercedes models as well. You've got a few different things you can customize and change, different views you can have on here too. Same thing with everything that you see up top. And this is all for the head-up display. So as you can see right there, you can change some of what you see up here. This head-up display is an option on this particular model. One other cool thing about Mercedes is, you've probably seen this before, but this little square right there, that is for biometric authentication. So you can configure your fingerprint, your settings, and literally customize every little setting in this car for your own fingerprint. But then coming over here, this is a 12.8-inch OLED screen. So this is a nice screen. You've got this part down here. This is actually part of the screen as well, so these are touch sensitive. They're large enough to where it doesn't bother me so much. And for the rest of the climate controls, you tap on that, then you can customize different things up there. Otherwise, you can just leave it on auto too. You've got a home button to where you can actually go back to your Mercedes menu, a quick shortcut to Apple CarPlay up there, and you have wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. And that's great because we also have a wireless charging mat deep down in there. It's kind of an awkward place because if you actually have cup holders in one or both, if you try to get this in or out there, it's a little bit annoying, but it does help prevent you probably from using your phone. A couple nice things about this screen as well is we've got this 360 camera view. So it's actually quite nice. When you're parking, you can see right next to the vehicle. Put it in reverse, you'll get this as well. It works really nice. You've also got parking assistance, so this can help you parallel and perpendicular park too. On top of all of that, there's a ton of different settings that you can customize in here. There's even little shortcuts down here as well to get to some quick settings, like your driver assist features and things like that. And this has the Burmester 3D audio system, and it sounds quite nice. Down here a little bit more, you're gonna see two USB-C charging ports. These cup holders are quite unique. So you've got this part right here, like a typical cup holder. This bottle's a little bit too big, but if you press down, like you have a drink, press down, that will slide around it. And you can move this out of the way, so you can have both of them out of the way if you want. You can even remove this cup holder tray altogether. Coming back a little more, you've got a nice soft material right here. You can push this. This even has like a little knurled pattern to it. Push that, both sides open up. 2 more USB-C ports in there, and it's softly lined inside, decent size overall. It's a 2-tiered center console, so underneath you have another spot to store some stuff, and 2 more USB-C charging ports up at the front there. Mercedes gives us this slow, softly lined opening glove box. And the material in here, this is quite unique. So I showed you the EQS, and it depends on what trim you get. This is the Pinnacle trim, but look at this trim on here. Even the material up on top. I mean, you get a luxurious experience on the inside of this Mercedes. You've got nice materials pretty much all over. You get an automatic dimming rear view mirror up overhead. We get touch sensitive controls for a lot of different things up here. So for example, I mean, this is an actual button right there, but you can just tap on the light to turn the light on. To open up your panoramic roof, you just slide your finger right there. And then you've got this little cover. It's not as see-through as some, but you've got a roof here and you've got a roof in the back. Visibility out of here is definitely not great, and looking out the rear window is honestly kind of annoying. Like for example, that top part of the roof hangs down quite a bit to where if you have even a little incline behind you, you have a hard time seeing. But other than that, at night you get ambient lighting, and I've showed you that in the EQS and other Mercedes models. This has the active ambient lighting as well. It is really cool, and you definitely want to check out those night videos. Now the charging door is on the back passenger side here, and here's a few specs. You can of course go for the basic 3-prong outlet. You can buy one from Mercedes, just a 3-prong outlet, or you can buy one yourself, but it's gonna be super duper slow. Or you can get a 240 volt plug like I do. I put one in my garage and it can charge in about a full charge in about 10.5 hours. Otherwise, you can do a DC fast charge and charge anywhere from 10 to 80% in a little over half an hour. You know, it's not uncommon to be able to open the hood on an EV and either see some hardware or see a front trunk, which is really nice to have. But with Mercedes, they tell you not to open it, and they say only a specialist from Mercedes should do it. So unfortunately, there's nothing to look at. All right, y'all, we are now behind the wheel of this EQE 500. So this 500, there's different models. There's also the 350 Plus to give you the most range of 305 miles. But this is the 4MATIC, so you got all-wheel drive, you've got 2 electric motors, and you're gonna get 260 miles of range. Still not bad considering how much power and torque we have. We have a 90 kilowatt hour lithium ion battery with 402 horsepower, which is pretty good, but 633 pound-feet of torque with the rear wheel steering and with the all-wheel drive. This thing grabs and goes in a heartbeat. And the 0 to 60 is 4.5 seconds. So this thing gets moving in a hurry. We'll talk about that. Go through the drive modes, the recuperation. One thing that I think is really cool about this Mercedes for an EV is the fact that you can use these paddles to adjust the recuperation or regenerative braking. So right now we're in normal recuperation. So if I'm driving and then I let off the accelerator, the vehicle gradually slows down. You can feel that there's a little bit of drag. If I hit this plus side, there's now no recuperation. And I tell you, when you're driving on like a highway or an interstate and you let off the accelerator, it's like you just coast. You just flat out coast, and there's basically zero regeneration at all. On the contrary, if I go back, go to normal, go to strong recuperation, it's basically like one pedal driving in a sense, to where it's going to significantly slow you down if you let off the accelerator and brake the second you let go. Now I'm going to go back, so if there's no recuperation, and then you hit it again and there's intelligent recuperation. So if you're following traffic and they're kind of slowing down, stopping and going, it will essentially kind of act like an adaptive cruise control in a way, to where it can brake when you start getting close to somebody a little bit. It's not going to be perfect, but it essentially takes a little bit of braking out of your hands if you want it to, and it will recharge or recapture some energy when you do that. Personally, I like to keep it in no or normal recuperation for most things. We're in no recuperation right now. I'm not touching the accelerator and we are just coasting. I mean, we are flying, picking up speed. It's like there's zero resistance and zero drag. It's pretty phenomenal. Now, brakes. You can see the charge that you capture when you're braking here. And we're gonna go ahead and get on it just a little bit, just in normal mode. It's got very tight turning radius. You got rear steering, so the front wheels will turn that way, rear wheels will go that way, and it just helps you get around corners. Just a little acceleration, boom, you get going in a heartbeat. It's so fast, it's so torquey, and there's noise that comes out of here. Now let me change the drive mode a little bit. That was normal. Now we're in sport. Now watch this. Pretty wild, huh? Let me put us in intelligent recuperation. No, let's do strong recuperation. So it's really slowing us down now. Pretty hard. Not touching the brake. But if I want to get on it again, and then it brakes pretty hard. And you've got all these crazy noises that come with it. The sound that comes through this Burmester audio system. Now, head-up display is in a nice location. The ride comfort in this car is pretty good as well. Now, I've said this before, but EVs just handle and drive differently than regular gas models. I have not actually driven the E-Class. I've driven the A-Class, the C-Class, the S-Class, but not the E-Class. So I can't compare this to the gas model, but it's comfortable. It handles well. The drive modes in here do a nice job. I typically just keep it in comfort mode. And this is a very quiet ride. You've got good noise on interstates and rough textured highways. We don't have laminated glass here, surprisingly, but I think it's just so aerodynamic that it's quiet anyways. And check this out. I honestly don't know the entire purpose of this, but when you come to a stop at a stoplight, you have a traffic light view. Some ways that it can be helpful is that this is not a huge window, and if you're on like an incline or a hill and you can't see the stoplight very well, you can see it on the screen. Maybe it's useful, maybe it's not, but the overall driving experience here, this car is fun and fast to drive, but in addition to that, it's actually comfortable and quiet and drives nice, and you've got a whole suite of safety features. So you've got the adaptive cruise control, you've got blind spot monitoring, you've got your own, so you've got lane centering, but it can also change lanes for you. You could be going with your cruise on, hit your signal, and it will go over for you. It's pretty awesome. I mean, it works well. The cruise control is very responsive. It's pretty incredible, everything that they're putting into these cars nowadays. So to wrap things up on this EQE sedan, this electric E-Class Mercedes here, it is very nice in so many different ways. It's also quite expensive, but it can have decent range, it can have great power, performance, it's got good space on the inside, and a really nice selection of features and options if you want those luxurious things as well. Let me know what your thoughts are down below and what your opinions are on this particular car. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching, and be sure to check out the EQS Sedan and EQS SUV if you want to see something even a little more high-end. Have a great day.